Did you guys hear Bad Bunny is doing the NFL halftime show?
Yeah.
Can't wait to see ICE arrest him on stage live at the halftime show. Gonna be the best halftime show ever.
Donald Trump once said, smart people don't like him. And he was right. This moron doesn't know that people from Puerto Rico are American citizens.
Bad Bunny, really? The NFL never ceases to amaze me, and what a fucking slap in the face to Americans.
Wow, the MAGA snowflakes are having MAGA meltdowns all over the internet about this.
A man who is anti-American, anti-Trump, and anti-ICE.
Sounds like a smart man.
To headline their Super Bowl show. This isn't a bold, inclusive moment. This is a political grenade hand-tossed into the living room of every single American family who decides to watch.
If you're not the NFL, keep on scrolling. You know, I've put up with a lot from the NFL. I put up with the whole kneeling. You lost me there for a little bit. You lost me on BLM thing with everyone knelt for, Floyd in the back of the infield, all that stuff, with not honoring Charlie Kirk. Can we not just get some good halftime show? Can we not just get a country halftime show? Bad Bunny?
So Bad Bunny is the headliner at the Super Bowl this year. I imagine MAGA is boycotting it because remember before the election, when Trump's Klan meeting, they came out and said that Puerto Rico was a floating pile of garbage, and that pissed Bad Bunny off because he's Puerto Rican. And most MAGA think that Puerto Ricans are immigrants, even though they're part of the U.S. They're a territory of the U.S. So I assume MAGA's going to be boycotting, especially because recently Bad Bunny has refused to tour in the United States, and that's gotten a lot of people into a tizzy. Some people are saying, well, why is he coming back now? Why would he do the Super Bowl when he's been boycotting the U.S. because of ICE?
Can we not get Morgan Wallen? Jelly Roll? I mean, we really have to go with a man who calls himself Bad Bunny? That sounds manly. I don't even know a song Bad Bunny sings. Of course, I don't listen to any of that music anymore. But at this point, I would suggest Miss Rachel.
An American citizen should be playing in the halftime show instead of Bad Bunny. To every single person that decided to come onto the internet today to say exactly that, I hope you know that you are proving people right with their concerns on ICE and the deportations that are taking place right now.
What happens when America's biggest stage, the Super Bowl halftime show, stops being just about football and becomes a full-blown culture war? The NFL's decision to choose Bad Bunny, the Puerto Rican megastar, for the 2026 halftime performance has divided the country in ways that go far beyond music. For millions of Latinos, it's a victory, recognition that Spanish is the second most spoken language in America and that reggaeton and Latin trap are now mainstream. But for others, particularly white conservatives and self-proclaimed traditional fans, it's an outrage. They argue, why Spanish songs at America's biggest game? Some even say country music should have been chosen instead. And beneath the noise lies something deeper. Bad Bunny's political activism, his anti-ICE stance, and his unapologetic critique of American immigration policies. This isn't just about music. This is about race, language, and what it means to be American in 2026.
I'm so sorry, but I need to say this. The audacity of the NFL, what they're doing with their halftime show, it is so disrespectful to the American people, to all the gringos from this country. Like, English is the first language here. Forget about the other ones, okay? Forget about the Spanish, forget about the rest of the languages. It is disrespectful to you guys because you wait so long for this, show and for this game that I don't understand why would they do this to you. I would definitely encourage you to sabotage the NFL. You should start giving away all your tickets. And honestly, I am willing to take that burden for you guys. I am willing to sacrifice myself and go to that concert because who are they putting in this halftime show? It's San Benito, Bad Bunny. Like, you don't have to go listen to that. I can go do that for you. I can definitely go do that. So if you are already planning on going, you don't have to go. Send me the tickets. I'll be more than happy to do that for you.
Why are they always upset?
They have the presidency, the House, the Senate. They have ICE running around chasing anybody who's not white. When are they going to be satisfied? Now MAGA is mad that Bad Bunny's going to be performing at the Super Bowl halftime show and singing all his songs in Spanish, as he should. Right-wing influencers are complaining that Bad Bunny's a massive Trump hater and an anti-ICE activist. Who cares? Are only Trump supporters allowed to perform at NFL halftime shows? And this one is just really sad. They found a way to blame Obama. Because apparently Obama's friends with Jay-Z, and Jay-Z has a company called Rock Nation, and Rock Nation has a partnership with the NFL to produce halftime shows. So therefore, it's Obama's fault. These people are deeply unserious. I'm sure one of the reasons MAGA is so mad is because Bad Bunny endorsed Kamala Harris after Trump had a comedian at one of his rallies calling Puerto Rico a floating pile of garbage. And he's always using his music to bring attention to what's going on in the political world and speak out against ICE and that anti-immigration rhetoric. I'm super excited to see Bad Bunny's performance at the halftime show, and it makes it even better that MAGA's losing their heads about it.
When the NFL officially announced that Bad Bunny would headline the halftime show, the reaction was immediate. Supporters celebrated, pointing out that his music dominates global charts, his concerts sell out worldwide, and his Spotify streams surpass most English-speaking artists. But almost instantly, the backlash began. Hashtags like #Boycott Super Bowl and #NotMyHalftime began trending among right-wing Twitter spaces. Critics claimed the NFL was alienating real fans, a phrase that often meant older, white, and deeply nostalgic for classic Americana. The argument wasn't just about music. It was about identity. For many conservatives, the Super Bowl halftime show isn't just entertainment. It's a cultural ritual. Choosing an artist who primarily performs in Spanish was seen as a rejection of their America. The outrage revealed an undercurrent of fear that the country they once recognized is slipping away and being replaced by one that embraces multiculturalism in ways they cannot control.
All I want to say to the NFL is resistance is beautiful. First Kendrick, now Bad Bunny. When Kendrick Lamar performed last year during the halftime show, every old racist white person in my community was like, I don't even know what he was saying. Was he speaking English? Well, now they announced Bad Bunny as the headline and they're losing it. None of his songs are in English. You're going to alienate all the existing viewers because you're trying to grow a Latin demographic. Doesn't the NFL know that Trump made English the official language of the United States of America? And they're big mad because Bad Bunny canceled his United States tour because he did not want ICE raiding his shows. But maybe this would be a good time for racist white folks to learn some history, some real history, not just the whitewashed and sanitized version of history. Bad Bunny is Puerto Rican. The United States of America colonized Puerto Rico in 1898. We forced U.S. citizenship on them in 1917 as if we were doing Puerto Ricans some huge favor. But you know what else we did? We forced this citizenship on them and gave them zero representation in Congress, still to this day. In fact, if you're Puerto Rican and you live on the island of Puerto Rico, you couldn't even vote for or against Donald Trump because you cannot participate in our presidential elections, but you did have to suffer Donald Trump throwing paper towels at you after a hurricane destroyed your island. With this, in 2019, there were 3.2 million people living in Puerto Rico. 43.1% of the total population and 57% of children in Puerto Rico lived in poverty. Now, Puerto Rico is a colonized U.S. territory. They do not need a passport to travel back and forth from the island to here. They cannot participate in presidential elections, and they have no representation in Congress, and they use the United States dollar. The whole idea of American exceptionalism is laughable. The only thing we're exceptional at is raiding other people and stealing their ideas, their culture, and their resources and their wealth.
Did you guys hear Bad Bunny is doing the NFL halftime show? Yep. Can't wait to see ICE arrest him on stage live at the halftime show. Gonna be the best halftime show ever.
Donald Trump once said, smart people don't like him. And he was right. This moron doesn't know the people from Puerto Rico are American citizens. ICE is not going to deport Bad Bunny, an American citizen. Now this one's even better.
You're telling me this is the best we can do? While our veterans are struggling, our borders are wide open, and our kids can't even say the Pledge of Allegiance without getting canceled?
He definitely had on the I hate everything that's not directly catered to me uniform on. Hat, sunglasses in the car. What the hell does veterans struggling in open borders have to do with the NFL halftime show? What the fuck are you talking about? And if the borders are wide open, I assume you're blaming Trump for that. He is president. And where the hell in the United States are kids getting canceled for saying the Pledge of Allegiance? Why are you just making shit up? I'm already at the point where I hope Bad Bunny don't say one word of English during that entire halftime show. Not a hello or goodbye. All you get's an hola and an adios. A bunch of people pissed off because the only Spanish they know is to ask you where the library is.
For many critics, the issue wasn't just Bad Bunny himself. It was his language. This is America, we speak English, one radio host raged, echoing a long-standing anti-immigrant sentiment. The irony? Spanish has been spoken in America since before the United States even existed. Yet the pushback against hearing Spanish on a mainstream American stage reveals a cultural insecurity. What's fascinating is how younger audiences, Gen Z and millennials, don't see it as a problem at all. They've grown up with bilingual content, crossover hits like Despacito, and artists like Shakira, J Balvin, and Karol G breaking through. To them, Bad Bunny represents the present, not some foreign intrusion. The divide is generational, cultural, and deeply political. And here's where my own reflection comes in. I remember the first time I saw a non-English song break into mainstream American radio. It was met with confusion, even mockery. But over time it became normal. Now, seeing this resistance to Bad Bunny feels like déjà vu history is repeating itself, except this time, the stakes feel higher.
If you're not the NFL, keep on scrolling. You know, I've put up with a lot from the NFL. I put up with the whole kneeling. You lost me there for a little bit. You lost me on BLM thing with everyone knelt for, Floyd in the back of the infield, all that stuff, with not honoring Charlie Kirk. Can we not just get some good halftime show? Can we not just get a country halftime show? Bad Bunny?
Pero what do you have against Bad Bunny? In case you haven't heard, he is the world. Not just here in the U.S. Not just here in little U.S. He is the most popular artist in the entire world. Like Earth. Yeah, he is. Country singer? You want a country singer? The NFL read the room. Considering that Bad Bunny is a dominant, he dominates in the music industry worldwide. Over 1 billion streams on Spotify. He has sold the equivalent of 100 million albums. A record only held by Julio Iglesias. Un Verano Sin Ti, that was his album in 2022, was the most streamed album in the entire world. And I know you're struggling with the fact that you don't speak Spanish, so how dare the NFL brings an all Spanish-speaking performer. But did you know that over 51% of his listeners don't even speak Spanish? No. There's a word for this. There's a word for diversity. That's what it is. It's diversity. You need to look that up because we should all embrace it.
Bad Bunny, really? The NFL never ceases to amaze me, and what a fucking slap in the face to Americans.
Wow, the MAGA snowflakes are having MAGA meltdowns all over the internet about this.
A man who is anti-American, anti-Trump, and anti-ICE.
Sounds like a smart man.
To headline their Super Bowl show. This isn't a bold, inclusive moment. This is a political grenade hand-tossed into the living room of every single American family who decides to watch it.
This is how clueless y'all are. You realize the Super Bowl is aired in over 100 countries worldwide. So millions of families will be watching it and will be enjoying it while y'all are crying about it.
Well, let's clear up a few things. This is his only U.S. performance. Banned all other tour stops in the United States because he feared ICE, but he was born in Puerto Rico.
You realize he did that not for himself, right? He was worried about his fans going to his concerts and being harassed by ICE. He turned down hundreds of millions of dollars because of that. Again, he sounds like a great guy.
He only sings in Spanish. He doesn't perform any English songs, which last I checked, the first language here is English. And yet the NFL thinks that he is a safe bet. No, that's poking a hornet's nest.
I know. Y'all were hoping for a Jason Aldean or Kid Rock. Bad Bunny is one of the most popular, if not the most popular artist in the entire world. So this was a very smart decision for a brand, the NFL, that is wanting to go worldwide. Why don't y'all just boycott the NFL for the 19th time?
But here's the truth. The outrage isn't just about language or music. It's about politics. Bad Bunny isn't just an entertainer. He's been openly critical of ICE, America's Immigration Enforcement Agency. He's spoken out about family separations at the border, about systemic racism, and about colonialism in Puerto Rico. For conservatives, this makes him more than a singer. It makes him a threat. Right-wing media has already started painting him as anti-American. They've accused the NFL of political pandering. Some have even suggested that his halftime show will be less about music and more about radical activism. And maybe they're right, Bad Bunny has never been afraid to use his platform. Whether it was wearing shirts protesting violence in Puerto Rico or raising awareness for migrants, he has always brought politics into his art. This is what terrifies his critics, that America's biggest televised event will turn into a stage for voices they've long tried to silence.
So Bad Bunny is the headliner at the Super Bowl this year. I imagine MAGA is boycotting it because remember before the election when Trump's Klan meeting, they came out and said that Puerto Rico was a floating pile of garbage, and that pissed Bad Bunny off because he's Puerto Rican. And most MAGA think that Puerto Ricans are immigrants, even though they're part of the U.S. They're a territory of the U.S. So I assume MAGA's going to be boycotting, especially because recently Bad Bunny has refused to tour in the United States, and that's gotten a lot of people into a tizzy. Some people are saying, well, why is he coming back now? Why would he do the Super Bowl when he's been boycotting the U.S. because of ICE? Well, Bad Bunny has been boycotting the U.S. and doing concerts here because he fears that the people that would be attending his concerts would be unfairly targeted by ICE agents. And by doing the Super Bowl, it's going to do two things. One, it's not going to be targeted by ICE because of the demographic there. And two, it's going to give him a chance to do probably, if not the majority of his songs in Spanish. And that is going to, just like Kendrick Lamar's halftime Super Bowl show, send a strong message to the rest of the country and everybody around the world watching in this polarizing time when people who are speaking Spanish are being targeted just because of that, where we are allowing racial profiling in this country just because of the way you look. The Supreme Court has decided that's okay. So Bad Bunny coming to the United States, doing the biggest event of the year in Spanish, is going to send a strong and clear message, just like Kendrick Lamar did last year. So I have to imagine the boycott Bad Bunny is already trending on MAGA Talk, but I'd love to see what everybody else thinks about it.
Can we not get Morgan Wallen? Jelly Roll? I mean, we really have to go with a man who calls himself Bad Bunny? That sounds manly. I don't even know a song Bad Bunny sings. Of course, I don't listen to any of that music anymore. But at this point, I would suggest Miss Rachel.
Something tells me you wouldn't like what message Miss Rachel would send to you right now. If you want Morgan Wallen and Jelly Roll, I promise you don't want Miss Rachel. I would love Miss Rachel. It would be fucking weird and make no sense for her to headline the halftime show at the Super Bowl. Let's put that aside. I would love what Miss Rachel has to say. Also, you dumbass, Bad Bunny is one of the most successful artists on the planet right now, so.
One of the most repeated talking points from critics was this: the Super Bowl should have chosen a country artist. And on the surface, that doesn't sound unreasonable. Country music is hugely popular in the US. But when you scratch beneath the surface, you see the symbolism. Country music has long been positioned as the soundtrack of white, rural, conservative America. By calling for country instead of Bad Bunny, what they're really saying is, we want our America back. It's not just about music genres, it's about power. The halftime stage has become a cultural battleground. Beyoncé was criticized for being too political. Shakira and J.Lo were attacked for being too sexual and too Latina. And now Bad Bunny is too foreign. The pattern is clear. When artists of color step into the Super Bowl spotlight, backlash follows. The demand for country music isn't just about taste. It's about control over who gets to represent American culture at its biggest event.
An American citizen should be playing in the halftime show instead of Bad Bunny. To every single person that decided to come onto the internet today to say exactly that, I hope you know that you are proving people right with their concerns on ICE and the deportations that are taking place right now. Because you all saw a brown man who speaks Spanish, you instantly thought that he was not a U.S. citizen. But the reality is that he is Puerto Rican, and Puerto Ricans are U.S. citizens since Puerto Rico is a U.S. territory. If you hear somebody speak a different language than English, or you see somebody that is not white, then automatically think, oh, they are not a U.S. citizen. Imagine what ICE is doing every single day in these streets when they are trying to track people down. In America, people should not have to be worried about government employees walking around who could potentially harm them simply because they are not white or speak a different language than English. But also, since that's the timeline that we are in, that is the reality, I'm so excited for Bad Bunny to be the halftime show. So is Daisy.
So the Black People's Handler, Jay-Z, has finally made his eminent choice for performer for the 2026 Super Bowl 60 halftime performance, and it's Bad Bunny. And cue the MAGA rants, cue the MAGA Twitter rant, because y'all already know that they were coming. You know that the angry MAGA Twitter rants were coming, and indeed they're here. They're here. And before we get into that, though, let's just do a little backtracking real quick, right? Jay-Z chose Bad Bunny. Jay-Z chose Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny who endorsed Kamala Harris. Bad Bunny who has spoken out multiple times in regards to the Trump administration and how much he just really, quite frankly, does not like that man. Okay? In fact, made sure to let everybody know that he will never forget what Trump did, what Trump's administration did during their first presidential run. You understand? With Puerto Rico as far as Hurricane Maria for 2017. Okay? Bad Bunny as a sign of protest. This is the same Bad Bunny as a sign of protest. This man purposely for his most recent tour did not extend any dates here in the United States, right? One, because he does not mess with this administration, but also to protect his fans. Bad Bunny, whose most recent album shed light on the gentrification that is taking place in Puerto Rico by white Americans over here. He does not mess with any of you guys, and MAGA knows that. MAGA knows that, so now MAGA is shaking in their fucking boots. So much so that they have now started sending this man death threats. You heard correctly. The FBI now has to up the protection for Bad Bunny when he performs next year for the halftime Super Bowl performance because of the death threats that he's receiving from these far-right extremists, from these MAGA people. Now let's read a tweet from one of these very, very, very angry MAGAs. Are the NFL owners in on this idiocy? Or are they just culturally that disconnected from reality? And how Roger uses the NFL to push left-wing social issues. DEI critic Robbie Starbucks, right, wrote on X, is it that hard to pick a unifying act who doesn't want to peddle woke propaganda? Does this guy really scream American football to anyone? Be real with me. No one thinks he does. This isn't about music. It's about putting a guy on stage who hates Trump and hates MAGA. Well, you got two things right, Robbie. He does hate Trump and he does hate MAGA. And guess what? A lot of us do. The problem is, though, MAGA guilt works overtime at the mere thought of having to face any accountability. And being that Bad Bunny was never silent on how he feels on your kind, on your side of this administration, you guys are all scared about what the fuck he's going to do when he gets on America's great big stage. That's what the problem is. Even in that little rant, he said Roger uses the NFL to push left-wing social issues. That just lets us know that they still not over the Kendrick performance. They still not over that shit. Even though we know that the personal beef, like the personal petty beef, was with Drake. Overall, Kendrick's message was basically aimed at white supremacy here in America, and they didn't like that. For almost a quarter of this year, we kept saying, they not like us, they not like us, they not like us. They didn't like that. They didn't like that. Why? Because it makes them have to be aware of the guilt that they so desperately try to repress. You understand? They don't ever try to face this because it also means having to face accountability, having to take accountability, which we know that these people are allergic to. And when they can't get their way, what the fuck do? They resort to fucking violence. And now Bad Bunny is getting death threats. He's getting death threats. There's literally MAGA people online. And the reason why the FBI is now involved in having to protect this man is because MAGA users were seen online making posts saying that they want to unalive this man, that they want to unalive him, that when he arrives here in America, that they want to unalive him. And they always say that it's the left, it's us black people, it's us colored people who are the brutes. It's us who are the animals. It's us that's always trying to resort to violence. It's you, motherfuckers. It's you. It's you. As soon as you found out who was going to be the performer, what did you do? Immediately started getting on the internet, ranting, upset, instantly upset at the fact or the thought of you having to take any type of accountability because you don't know what this man is going to do. You don't know what he's going to do. And he's been talking about you guys and your kind coming to his country and fucking it up. So you guys are scared, right? And so what do you do? What do you do if people don't say what you want them to say? You try to silence them, and you do it through the means of your people, through your ancestors, violence. That's how you do it, violence. And now you guys are sending him death threats, but they want to say that all of the violence is occurring off of the left side. How? How? Y'all wanted me to feel bad when that man got popped in the fucking neck. You wanted me to feel bad. I didn't celebrate it, but I damn sure didn't feel bad. You wanted me to feel bad. Why would I feel bad when this is how your kind reacts? This is how your kind silences people up. That's what y'all do. That's what y'all do. And now y'all coming after this man. Now you're coming after this man. Why? Because he forces you to have to look at the truth that you try to keep buried. And you know that. You know that. It made you guys' blood boil. It made you guys' blood boil to hear that he refused to have any tour dates here in America. That he's been outwardly speaking out, especially with his platform. He is one of the biggest artists of the 21st century right now. Maybe 21st or 22nd. I'll double check. But he has a lot of influence. Y'all don't like that. He's been talking about how Americans are coming in and taking over shit. Y'all don't like that. And now, on America's greatest stage, y'all have no choice but to watch him as he makes it possibly, he has a choice, a complete fool out of you, a complete fool out of you. And to be honest, I hope that all other non-Americans who perform, that are in Hollywood, they're seeing exactly how Americans, white Americans, far right, extremist, white supremacist Americans treat people who do not align or agree with their mindset. If you don't agree, they result to violence. And let this be a warning for all of you other artists. Don't come to America. Don't come to America, because this is how those white supremacist Americans treat people. They treat people like they don't want you to have freedom of speech. They want you to say what the fuck they want you to say. Okay? Let this be an example. I hope every performer sees this every single time. If you know that you are somebody who is for human rights, understand that the white supremacists in this country are going to attack you. They're going to attack you. I just wanted it to be known. I just wanted it to be known to everybody out there who probably doesn't know that the choice in performer for America's 60th Super Bowl halftime performance, Bad Bunny, is receiving death threats from American citizens, from white American citizens, because they don't like the fact that he's the left and he's woke. And that just lets me know how fucking desperate you are, all of you, in holding on to the delusion that allows for this reality that all the bullshit that you say makes sense, right? And to exist, or for you to at least play the part like it exists. Because anytime somebody comes and they threaten, you understand? The choice or the thought of possibly popping that little fucking bubble that you live in, y'all go crazy, y'all go feral, y'all go absolutely insane.
When we zoom out, this isn't just about Bad Bunny or the Super Bowl. It's about America's ongoing identity crisis. Who gets to define American culture? For centuries, it was framed as white, English-speaking, and dominated by one vision of patriotism. But the reality of modern America is far more diverse, multilingual, and global. Bad Bunny's halftime show is just the latest flashpoint in a battle that's been brewing for decades. And here's where the hypocrisy becomes undeniable. Country fans claim that music should be apolitical, yet the demand to silence Bad Bunny is political. They argue that freedom of speech is sacred, yet recoil when an artist uses that freedom to critique systems they support. What we're witnessing isn't just a backlash against a musician. It's a backlash against change itself.
Why the hell would the NFL choose Bad Bunny to do the Super Bowl halftime show? Think about it. The biggest stars in American music right now are Taylor Swift, who's at basically every Chiefs game, Post Malone, or even Drake. Any one of them would have been the obvious choice to have the Super Bowl halftime show. But instead, the NFL picks a guy where 90% of his music is in Spanish for the biggest American sporting event of the year. Well, the reason is a whole lot deeper than you think. The reason the NFL is doing this is simply because they have the U.S. by the balls. They know for a fact, whether you like Bad Bunny's halftime performance or not, you're going to come back next year and still watch the Super Bowl. The NFL knows that the U.S. market is huge, but it's also saturated. Everybody knows about it. And the real path to growing a bigger business isn't trying to appease the Americans. It's growing internationally. Why do you think the NFL is scheduling all these games in Brazil, Ireland, the UK, Germany, Spain, and even Mexico? They don't want to be the biggest sport in the US like they already are. They want to be the biggest sport in the world. And what easier way to get millions more eyeballs on the Super Bowl than to have the biggest pop star in the entire world, multiculturally, to do your halftime show? You and I might love Post Malone and his music, but some random family in Brazil could not give two shits. Again, this is not a risky choice at all for the NFL. It's an absolute layup. The NFL has no risk with US fans here whatsoever. He's also huge in the US. So you might not like this choice, but it is incredibly obvious why they're doing it. So if you want to keep up on all things media and how to make better content, make sure you follow me.
So here's the challenge. America is at a crossroads. Will we cling to the idea that American culture can only look and sound one way? Or will we accept that diversity, in language, in music, in activism, is already part of who we are. Bad Bunny's Super Bowl halftime show isn't just entertainment. It's a mirror. And the outrage tells us less about him and more about us. The truth is, you don't have to like Bad Bunny's music. You don't even have to watch the halftime show. But pretending that Spanish, activism, or multiculturalism don't belong in America, that's a denial of reality. So I'll leave you with this challenge. The next time you hear the outrage, ask yourself, what are they really afraid of?